Hello. Today is June 29, 2020. Hope you are well today, whatever today is for you. We're going to continue to develop the subject that we spoke on yesterday, having to do with service and really taking on the weight that the planet and its inhabitants are suffering right now, to the extent that we can. So this is just following that recording. Sometimes when we read something in a book or hear something in a recording or record something on a recording, it relays the information sometimes, but even if it accomplishes that purpose, there's something that no book, no recording, and no thing can deliver, and that's the direct experience of the thing that's being spoken of or written about. So we spoke yesterday about how perhaps part of our, we'll say, mission or assignment, we'll just put it in those terms, not that it really is, but it's easy to understand. Sometimes when we're serving in that capacity, we're carrying some heavy stuff because that is what we offer to do. And that sounds good. It doesn't feel good, especially because when we are, when it feels like thrown into these experiences, then sometimes it really feels that way, tossed into these experiences, like straight onto it, like onto a pavement, it feels anything but good. And those moments and during those experiences, it's not so easy to call to mind, oh, this is part of the thing. Okay, yeah. Let's do this. No. Because nobody well, maybe somebody enjoys feeling bad, so you can't really say that. But for those of us who don't find pleasure in feeling heavy, dense weight on us, it is really, really tough. And part of the reason is that when our priority is serving the interests of love in this place, above all else, the flow of love and the feeling of light and of lightness and compassion and generosity, those are not something that we own. Those are the feelings that come along with allowing love to move through us. Those are components of love. Those are aspects of love. And that's, the list goes on and on. Feelings of peace, feelings of acceptance, and not tolerance, not just simply tolerating situations, but just this fullness of acceptance and openness and compassion, and the universe is so beautiful that it allows us to be able to, I want to say bathe, or bask in these beautiful aspects of love. And so that becomes our way. That becomes our new natural way of existing. So, and then just imagining this, because semantics, right? Imagine that is the highest of the heights. That's high. That's in the clouds high. That's bliss upon bliss. And then when we're called upon to serve in really tough situations, it's falling. It's a falling. It's a fast fall down, 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 down to the very depths of darkness. And it's what it feels like. It feels the opposite of all of the beautiful things that we just described. You feel alone. It feels just almost even overwhelming, because we've grown so used to the beauty moving through that, and the lightness moving through. But the thing that we have to try to remember is that, one of the things we need to try to remember is that in the cases where the experiences we're having are with people who are close to us, people who we care about them on a level of family ties. No, not family ties. Of familiarity. We've known them, and we've developed a relationship over time. And when the situations that we experience feature these people, that becomes even more amplified as far as the challenge of it, because we forget that, because we take things personally in that way. We do still. We try not to, but we still do. And we forget that it's not people. It's not the human beings, the mothers, the fathers, the cousins, the daughters, the aunts, the uncles, our children, whoever it is. That's not where the challenge is coming from in these situations. The challenge is coming from the type of energy that is fueling situations. The energy is the opposite, at least in our experience here. The feeling of the energy is opposite to the lightness and the peace and the fullness and the harmony. It's opposite. And that energy is the thing that it almost... I'm getting this icky image of like you can imagine kind of like a slimy, squirmy snake, slithery thing trying to maneuver, wriggle its way into you. This blob, this dark, gooey thing, this trying to, and it is, and it's moving into you, because that's what we signed up for, right? We said, okay, yeah, I want to alleviate. So that's the thing, and tying it into what we were just talking about yesterday, that when it comes to the individuals in our lives who are our intimate associates, and these things happen, and we've been praying, so to speak, something like that they be relieved of the suffering they're going through, well, then where's it going to go? How are we going to do that? How are we going to put our money where our mouth is? Is this just talk? Oh, please help my poor friend here, and let me just go on with my life. So, and that's if you believe that kind of thing, I suppose, which right now it makes sense to me, so that's why I'm speaking on it. So yeah, but it feels like these icky things just kind of working their way into you because it's coming out of the, it's doing what you asked it to do, to leave the other person. And I know that these kind of ideas seem really probably bizarre, and I don't even, when we speak like this, we don't mean these things literally. It's just that it's very hard to communicate, because the truth of it is we don't really understand. We can't envision it on the level of the reality that we're discussing. So we have to use these kind of terms to at least communicate some sort of idea so that it's understandable to the listener. So you can imagine that if that's the process that's happening, and it could be the process that's happening, that would not feel very good upon the recipient, especially one who is ordinarily enjoying, and enjoying doesn't mean skipping around like nothing matters and everything is wonderful. But when these challenges happen to someone, or experienced by someone who is living in that way of, living in lightness and love, it feels probably even more intense because it's so drastic in the difference of the thing that that's become more of our normal way of being. And we're going to backtrack for a second. Man, it's really bright over here. Sheesh. We were going to backtrack for a second and say, hold on one second. I have to think about what I was going to say. Oh yeah. This good feeling that we were describing a couple of times so far, it's two things. It's not something that emanates from the person. It is just a kind of byproduct, maybe you want to say, although it's simultaneous. We'll call it a byproduct or a side effect of serving love, though enjoying the lightness and all of the good things that we described several times so far in this recording. So that's the first thing. It's not the person themselves, because we still, even if we are existing that way, we're still having temptations, still having the ego wanting to jump in, and sometimes it still does because we haven't perfected that, still have elements of the conditioning that we have because of our upbringing and environment that we've been raised in and grown up in. We still have elements of that conditioning still within us that's trying to work its way out, or rather the light that we're allowing to come through is shining on those things and allowing us to really see that we are conditioned. So it's not like you've got these perfect people here, like, oh, I'm serving love and I'm a bright light angel. No, you're not. We're still having to overcome, same things. We're human beings. We're still having to deal with our own issues, our own baggage. So we don't want to misunderstand this, that someone who is serving this capacity is beyond. No, they're not beyond. And the second thing, again, is, I think we mentioned it, but we're going to emphasize it. It looks like that woman has a horn in her head. Is that a feather? Funny, sitting in the park. The second thing we want to just reiterate is that it's love that does the thing. It's love that does. So basically, if it was a contract, it said, okay, I am Ooh, something's flying in my face. God damn. I am giving up a lot of my personal comforts, or my personal desires, my personal opinions. I'm going to move that shit out of the way so that love can move through. That's not easy. Those are the things we were just describing, the issues and the baggage. But we were saying, okay, I know that love and light can't move through this vessel as long as I'm still feeding into all the crap that's in me. So I'm going to really work hard to not pay attention to myself when I knee-jerk react in situations, and I want to defend myself, and I want to prove a point. And it's a lot. There's a lot of lessons that we're learning, along with now trying to help for other people who just are really forlorn and have not yet experienced the fullness of what spirit can do for humanity. People in that situation really, really, really need assistance, because no matter how hard this is, no matter how tough this is, when we step in and say, okay, yeah, I want to take on some of that for someone, at least there is some bit of understanding of what's happening on some level, where many people, you can talk to people nowadays. We're going to have to start a new one. This is going long. Talk to people nowadays, and many people are many people are spewing out the rhetoric that they're fed through different institutions, we'll say, that have been set up to give people some sort of sense of security in something. But the rhetoric is nonsense. People don't know it, and because humans, we are what we are. We're beyond what meets the eye. Even when you listen to people going on and just regurgitating stuff that they're reading or hearing or watching, that really, those are little simple solutions that people accept, because what else can I do? I have no idea what the hell's going on, and this institution, this is he over here or they over there, is saying, calm down, we got this, blah 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 blah, vomit all out. Well, guess what? I got no alternative. I got no option. I don't know what the hell is happening in the world, and so I'm jumping on board of that, because there ain't nothing else. But what I was going to say is that because we are more than just skin and bones, there's something within us that there's still this unrelaxedness inside of people, because on a deeper level, beyond what we're being fed and told, we really do know somewhere in us, it's not in the mind, it's somewhere in us, we know that the answers that we're being given, the solutions that we're being offered, are not gonna. And so people, even though they're attaching themselves to these ideas that they're being told, on a deeper level, because we emanate from something much greater than the lies, we know. We're going to start another recording now. So, talk to you in a moment. Bye.